Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Monday, the 28th of July. Starting off with the FTSE 100 as usual, and here got this rising trend channel in place since the end of April. I suppose you could argue it's a bit before that, but top of the channel there, currently heading for 92.70, and we're looking for that while we're above the top of the old channel there, 90.55. That also ties in with the floor of the channel, the new one from April in that 90.50 area. In terms of what could happen next, I'm probably looking for some kind of test for support towards 90.50 to 9100 and then back up again. Obviously, the picture changed slightly with the EU-US tariffs deal over the weekend. Moving on to the DAX, which certainly was or is a beneficiary of that, or should be, a bit of a disappointing bounce, possibly as President Macron said he didn't really like the deal. But here we have this market still above the 50-day line, 23,900. And above that, we're still looking for as high as 25,200 by the end of next month. Obviously, things have slowed down here, so not really moved at all over the course of July to date. On the downside, worst case would be July support towards 23,600 and possibly the March resistance at 23,500 if there is a rug pull. Moving along to the Dow, and here we have a situation where we're still hoping and praying that this market's going to get through 45,000. If it can do that, then we are looking at the top of that rising trend channel from back in May last year, as high as 47,400 by the end of next month. On the downside, not really expecting anything lower now than 44,000. But if there is a rug pull of disappointment, then the 50-day line currently at 43,200 would be an obvious destination. On to the cryptos, and the first one is Bitcoin, where we are ensconced quite well at the near the floor of the rising trend channel from April. The level there, basically 115,000, that's the support we expect to keep. Below that would be the area of around 110,000, which is the 50-day line, an April uptrend line, and ties in with the old May resistance at 112,000. But at the moment, we're hoping this market will stay within that rising red trend channel. Ethereum is next, and at the moment, this looks like a more bouncy market than the situation of Bitcoin. We've had a bull flag breakout through 3870 rather, and above that looking for the upper parallel of that rising trend channel from back in March as high as 4300 or even 4400 actually, depending on the exact angle there. That could be hit by the end of next month, and on the downside we're hoping that we'll stay above the top of the old March rising trend channel at just shy of 3,500. So above 3,500 here, looking for up to 4,400 on Ethereum. Moving on to gold, which has been struggling with that April resistance line there, 34.30. For some reason, that's a big level. The floor of the channel and the 50-day line near 33.30. And at least while we're above that, we are looking for this market to hit 3,800. During August or September, perhaps more realistically. On the downside, worst case, towards 3,200, and that would tie in with May and late June support for this market. RSI remaining above neutral 50, so we are half full rather than half empty, especially given the way that the 50 and 200-day lines are both still rising. Moving along to the stocks, and first one is Alien Metals, where it's time to take a bow, or nearly time to take a bow, given that we're very close to the top of that rising trend channel there from September. The double bounces for the RSI just a week or so ago gave the clue that this market was going to turn around. We're looking for up to 0.18 on this at the top of that September rising trend channel, especially while we're above the March resistance at 0.13. On to Avacta, where everyone and the mother's been looking for a big turnaround here and taking the credit for it as well. Good to see the shares gap up for the second day in a row now with the news that we've had, the disposal news that we've had on this company. And the view now is that while we're above the floor of the gap there on an end-of-day close basis, around 48 pence, looking for the promised target as high as 62 pence by the end of next month. We were actually probably at this stage might even get it a bit sooner than that, but at the moment looking for the low 60s while we're above 48 pence. Moving along to Borders and Southern, which has just been in a sort of almost relentless uptrend here. The shares following through on Friday's move, nearly up to the 10 pence target that we were looking for by the end of next month. If we're lucky, we might get that by the end of the week. Multiple bounces for the RSI at neutral 50, and that indicates a strong technical picture, and we're quite close to, in fact, upgrading the upside here with a new target towards 14 pence, maybe by the end of September, if things go at the current level of progression. And actually, the chart looks very similar to the chart of Rockhopper, which we'll look at in a few minutes. Moving on to Ceres Power, which is included today, because I completely missed it. It's a bit larger than the companies normally look at, so nearly 200 million market cap. But we've closed the gap there, the top of the gap there at 129. Above that, looking for the top of that rising trend channel base from February, as high as £1.82 by the end of next month. But the key here is staying above the top of that gap there, around the £1.30 region. Interesting moves here at EnergyPathways, where we managed to gap up last week, and we've held the gap and then broken a combination of the 50-day moving average and the resistance line there from October, which were quite, was a third or fourth attempt at breaking that. RSI 50 rebounds as well. We've had two of those, so looking for at least the 200-day moving average at 6.7 pence in coming days, and then by the end of next month, hopefully be back up at the main resistance here at 8 pence for this stock. But the upside about it, at least while we're above 5 pence on EnergyPathways. Haven't looked at European metals for a long time, and here you can probably see why, given the way that the shares pulled back from that March peak. But it looks like they've regrouped, finding good support there at the floor of that rising trend channel around 7.75 pence. Above that, we're looking for up to 13 pence by the end of next month. And the only proviso here is that you might want to wait for an end-of-day close through the 50 and 200-day moving averages just above the current share price. But so far, looks as though somebody was buying on Thursday, and also with the shares opening at the low, closing at the high. And then today we've had the gap close buy signal, as well as the break of the RSI 50 level. I think I looked at Karelian yesterday, and worth looking at it again today. Situation is that probably need to readjust or adjust the support and resistance lines here, but situation looking rather more positive than recently. We had a move to a new low and then a key reversal up, and as I said, suggested that looks as though makes it look as though the floor is in. Initial target here up to 0.97, which is the top of the gap, and the area of the 200-day moving average. So if you add in the way that the RSI is pushed back above neutral 50 and the 50-day line is rising, it looks as though you've got multiple signals on Karelian at the moment, maybe looking to retest the best levels of June sometime over the next few weeks. On to Manx, and here, company basking in the glory of getting the insurance go-ahead in the UK. From memory, yes, they've got FCA approval to offer insurance in the UK, which is a big deal, especially when you've got a market cap of 32 million. So plenty of potential upside there. We've already had the shares hitting the initial target there around 24 pence, next level up to 35 pence, and we're looking for that by the end of next month, although it looks as though the shares are rather keen to get there ahead of time, or ahead of that particular prediction. The other thing to note is that we've had an extended RSI 50 rebound, and so that also gives the shares a decent looking profile at the moment. Upside certainly valid while we're above recent, or at least 1 year resistance around 26 pence. Another stock we haven't looked at for a long time, largely because there have been other more exciting things to look at, is Mycelx, and here possibility of a rising trend channel base with an overshoot to the downside there, and then shares popping back up like a cork in water. Here we've got the 50-day line rising near the lows, which is normally a positive, and the top of the channel here up to 40 pence, which we're looking for by the end of next month, while we remain above the 24 pence level on an end of day close basis. Twin towned with Borders and Southern at the moment is Rockhopper, and here you can see that we're near the top of that rising trend channel in our target area around 71 pence. End of day close above that top of that rising trend channel from November at 71, and we're looking for is up to 92 pence by the end of next month, while we remain above initial July resistance at 63 pence. On to the last two. First one is Team Internet, which has gapped up aggressively over the last few days. Here you can see that we are on our third or fourth target, the line there at 43 pence. Looking for that in coming days while we hold above recent initial July resistance at 33 pence. But probably time quite soon to try and find a fresh target there, which will probably be up towards 60, the upper 50s area by the end of next month, while we're above 33 pence. Finishing off with TheWorks, and here, from memory, I think the company had a great update just a month or so ago. Here we are in what looks like a mid-move consolidation, so between 55 and 65 pence, and above that, above 65 pence, looking for as high as 90 pence by the end of September. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.